Thieves? It's your girl, Miss Lovely Lee, and we are back with another episode of the FEVA Forever Hip Hop panel. To my right, we got Massive, the veteran.
Massive, yes.
Oh, no introduction needed. Got you.
The legacy. Legacy, right?
Fact.
We also have Miss Kitti, radio personality.
Meow, baby. Shout out 66 Raw.
We got Mr. Blacc Papvi.
Follow me on the gram, Blacc Papvi, BLACCPVPI.
And we have the beautiful Quan-Tia, the writer.
Hey.
So on this episode, we are going to be discussing why it seems like the newer generation of hip-hop artists get so much criticism from the older generation of hip-hop artists and hip-hop listeners. I'm going to start with the older people. Y'all not old. Y'all just older. I'll start with the older.
Seasoned.
Elderly.
Older, okay.
Did you say so? Elderly.
So-
Tried
So Prince, since you the oldest.
So I really would like to hear your take first, Miss Kitti, because you're into hip hop, you do the radio personality thing, you're a listener, so I feel like you have more range to talk about the topic.
What it is, the problem with a lot of old school heads that's been in the industry, they feel like, first of all, the money, they not seeing the same money that a lot of these new artists are seeing. They see a lot of new money.
Okay.
And the contracts wasn't put in place back in the days for them to get that. So, is there haterism? I don't think so. But I think they feel like it's a lack of respect. Like the newer generation is not paying homage. Like they don't understand what got them to this point. My generation, when our rappers, my generation got into hip hop, they paid homage to the ones that did it before them. Because this was something new. This was something that wasn't never done before past the 70s.
Right.
So when my era got into the game, they paid homage to the ones that did it before. When the females came in the game, if you had Salt and Pepper, they was giving it up to Roxanne's of the world, you know? And when Queen Latifah and MC Lyte came in the world, they was giving it up to the Salt and Peppers in the world. And passing on, Little Kim even gave it up to the Salt and Peppers in the world. And then after that, you know, even with Trina, you know what I mean? And then there it goes on and on and on, and now we have Cardi B.
And before we get into the conversation, let's draw some lines. What is considered quote-unquote old school hip-hop artists versus new school hip-hop artists? Like, what are we doing? Is it like the whole Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne and whatnot? Are they new school? Because I feel like it's three different kind of generations at this point.
I feel like Nicki and them is the cutoff.
Nicki's the cutoff of what?
Nicki, Young Money, Cash Money, them.
Of
They're
like
the
traditional
cutoff.
hip-hop?
Yes, they're the cutoff.
Do you guys agree with that?
I can accept
I
that.
Wait,
could, because he's the younger generation.
That they what the cutoff of
So
like
for his
traditional
generation,
Rap.
What we know to be
Well,
hip hop.
Yes.
like they're the last thing to be
Like the
considered
Drakes,
hip-hop?
the Lil Wayne, the G Unit, the Murder
Right.
Inc., like well,
Right.
basically everything from the 2000s to like 2010, 11 kind of thing.
Okay.
More like to 2012 before people started going pop.
Now I wouldn't say they were old school, but they definitely, like I said, I agree with Blacc Papvi with that's the demarcation. That's the line of demarcation right there.
and it's sad, but it's like as long as you know your history, and a lot of them don't. But then it comes with, you know, artists. A lot of them, and what we used to give at 66 Raw was we used to do an artist development roundtable,
Right.
where we take a lot of these artists and we help them in doing interviews and stuff like that. And a lot of these artists, they come into the game and they're making so much money, but they don't have their management team right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that means they're stealing up. They don't know what to say in the interview.
They training them
They don't
to
know
be
their
one-hit
history.
wonders.
Exactly. So if your mind ain't into it, and all you thinking about is right now and doing this one song that's gonna make you this amount of money, but you did no research, you understand? Then that's their team. You have other people who are really new artists that are into hip hop and they know their history.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They know what brought them to where it is today. Just like R&B, rock and roll, they pay homage to
But do you
the
feel
ones
like-
that started. Why us in hip hop have to have a problem with where the legacy began?
So this is what I want to ask. So it's like, okay, you have Quan-Tia, the writer, Miss Kitti, Massive. Y'all artists was like Biggie, Pac, Nas, Jay. all of them. Then I would say with me growing up, I had like Nicki, possibly Eve, yeah, Remy Ma, Murder Inc. and all of them, G Unit and whatnot. Now the kids coming up now, they have the little Uzis, they have the Rich Homie Quan, they have
Generation
6ix9ine, right? So I'm really focusing on that, the generation right now.
The game changes constantly, Lily. Like, you could have a hot song a month ago, and you are irrelevant.
But the what
now
I'm trying
you're
to say,
old school.
the music that they making is not even quote unquote traditional hip hop. Can we
Absolutely,
agree with that?
I
Is we
agree,
agree
and
with
that's
that?
what I
So do you
was
think
gonna
that's
touch
why they're
upon.
not paying the proper respect? Because they feel like we're not even following in our
Absolutely,
footsteps.
I
We
feel
doing
like-
our own thing.
I feel like they don't even recognize or even see themselves as hip hop artists. They are walking around saying I'm a rock star. I'm not a rapper.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm not a hip hop artist. They are literally walking around saying, being quoted as saying these things.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So if you have that state of mind, if you feel as though I'm not a hip hop artist, then you don't feel like you have anyone to pay homage to.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Then why should you?
Right.
You feel like
But if you're a rock star,
and then honestly, part of it I feel like is that they also, and we have to, as older heads, give a little respect to this. They created their own lanes. They really
so did
created
we. So did we.
But we
have
to get it
So
from
did we.
somewhere.
They get
So
something
do we.
from here, but we
You
have
gotta pay
we
homage
have
to
to
something.
you have to acknowledge. You can't
Right.
say that without acknowledging that their lane is a lot broader than the lane that we created, because their lane allowed them to get that really quote unquote
But that's
money.
right money.
But
That's
that's
right
rockstar
money.
That
That's
white
right
people
money.
money. That's
Yeah.
white money.
That's
You
right
know
Oh,
what
money.
I'm
like
saying?
Black Poppy
Obviously.
talk. What
At
you
the
gonna
same
say?
time, there are new school generation rappers and entertainers that do pay homage to the past, even if they don't do.
There's not
the
a lot.
quote-unquote-
But we gonna-
there is-
Hold on, Black
there
Poppy,
is
name
such
5
as-
artists.
Let me name
Five.
drop. Asian Doll and Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
They're always commenting on each other's Instagram, always showing love. Asian Doll always says that Nicki Minaj was her inspiration. Dream Doll the other day posted
Next.
Lil' Kim.
3.
But who?
Let's go. Hold on. 3.
Let's go Davies. Who's watching?
He's not counted in the Little Uzi Rich Homie.
Why?
Quan.
But
Why?
He's
Why?
a traditional.
Why?
Because
No,
he's a
no.
traditional
But he's
hip
of
hop
this
artist.
generation.
He's of my
though.
generation.
He's of
When
this
I say
generation.
this, I mean this generation's music.
But he is
he
of
is
this
this
generation.
His
genre.
music is
He
more like
is-
traditional hip hop. He's
Yeah,
like an
like
understudy
J.
of
Cole,
Nas.
Kendrick Lamar, but that's still
this
our school.
generation.
He's still just
He's
He's
this
still this
generation.
generation.
I mean the
that's
sound, the
paying
popular
homage.
sound.
But goes
But
back
what
to
is-
your question. He's this generation paying homage and respect.
Because he
to
sees himself as
what
an
brought
MC.
him on the way. Like my boy Blacc Poppy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can pay homage. And if he was to come out to music, it probably would be the same because of his culture,
Right.
what he was brought up in. Where you got the Kodak Blacks as disrespectful.
But you know why I say that?
They think that they
No.
motherfucker
You're right.
goddamn
Dave
right.
East.
You understand? Like,
Hold on, Dave East is my generation, but you know why I kind of feel like he's not with the new kids, because this man is like 31 years old. The people I'm talking about is children. We talking about teenagers and
You
it's
talking
their early
about,
20s.
you talking about
Regardless
teenage,
of the
you talking about
age.
children artists?
Like
We
the
talking
6ix9ine
about-
that's
what
in
about
their
Logic?
20s.
but we talking
What about
about
the rapper Logic?
demographics. So it's not seriously the age, but the
But
demographics.
Dave East is
you're
not
attracted.
mainstream.
That
He's
you-
not
you
getting
You
white
cannot,
dollars.
you cannot do that without factoring in his age, because that means he got a little bit of both schools.
But are we
You
talking
understand?
about?
Because of his age.
Are we talking about who the audience that you're attracting, or we talking about the actual artist's age?
That's
Well,
my
no,
question.
I was
think
talking
But
about
that
the
is
he's speaking more
audience,
to the
because-
actual sound.
sound. That's what I
The
said. Yeah, the
sound.
sound.
Well, then, if it's the actual sound, then regardless of what your age is, you have young people sounding like Marvin Gaye. You understand what I'm saying? But it's their
No,
genre.
but we're speaking
So-
specifically
sounds like,
to
Marvin
that. What is okay? So,
All right,
so can
what's the
I
girl?
say?
Hold
John
on,
Stone.
hold
John
on.
Stone, a young girl, had
Oh,
a
yes,
more grown
yes.
Right, but
sound.
Okay, hold
You
on.
understand?
We're talking
Guys,
about
let's
a
watch
whole
the
different
influence.
genre.
Let's
We're talking about the whole different genre that doesn't absolutely
We're talking about
apply.
hip-hop. We're talking
right,
about rap.
So
Okay.
I was talking about hip hop, and I think we're speaking to more of what is referred to as maybe the mumble rap,
Right,
or
exactly.
you know the different colloquialisms and names that's given to that that particular sound that's half trap, half rock and roll, with
Right.
all these different, you know.
I'm
Who would you
talking about.
consider the
But you
biggest
got some
music
people
fan?
that's 31 years old that's gonna do mumble rap.
But
And you
that's
got
fine,
some
I'm
people
not
that's
even-
31 years
Right,
old
so that's
that's
okay.
gonna do conscious
So
rap.
we gonna talk
So
about
we're
that
still
sound.
talking about
We
demographics.
talking about the sound.
And you
man.
also got the rappers that pretend to use that sound just so they could get hot.
So let me
and
clarify
then
what I'm
rap what
saying
they really
before we
wanna
move
say.
Yeah.
forward in the
Right.
conversation. The point I'm making is more of a sound. I'm talking about the Travis Scott, the Rich Homie Quan, the Little Uzi, the
Uzi,
little
Travis,
little
yeah.
whatever the other little
Lil
person.
Xan.
Lil
Lil
Xan,
Xan,
Lil
Lil
Xan.
Xan.
Yeah,
Lil
6
You're putting
9
them in a category.
Yes.
Right.
And in that
Famous
category,
Even the Migos, we
They
can bring
work-
the
My
Migos
son's
into it
Migos.
too.
it works for that category. And then you have the J. Cole's, the Kendrick
But we're
Lamar's.
not talking. I'm talking about why
But
the
you,
older
that's
people who
a
listen to.
category.
Let me say something. Let me just say something real quick. I've been told, I actually saw on a YouTube video that said that the Migos were the Run DMC of this generation.
I
Oh,
believe
really?
that.
I believe it.
Okay.
I
I
respect
believe
that. I respect
And I
that.
respect that.
I respect that completely.
I like that from the get.
I respect that completely because
Must be the paddock.
this generation is a whole new independent music generation.
Right.
And if the Migos would be the Run
I'ma need
DMC
a
of that
little bit more
generation,
elaboration on
if
that.
the Migos would be the Run DMC of
But
that
you know what?
generation,
When
meaning that
Think about it.
they are the forefront. They are the most
Very
popular
influential.
artists
Very
as a group
influential.
of that of this
Great
generation.
point.
Then I respect that. I do respect that.
I'm loving that point that he makes because we have no groups. And if they are the Run DMC, then Ray Shrummer must be the EPMD or the Red Method Man.
But that's
No,
not
no, no,
personal.
no, no, no.
Wait a minute.
Right now.
No, no,
That's
no.
not
You gotta think. Hold on, let me just make this point real quick, and then I'm gonna let you speak, right? If you think of their generation, who was our age when Run DMC and them came out, right? When they get older, that's who they're gonna think about. They're gonna think about the Migos.
Migos, right.
They're gonna think about Ray Shrummer because those were groups. There's not a lot of group in hip hop out.
True,
But
true.
Ray Shrummer, they went on tour with Nicki. They made a name for themselves
That's right.
with the few little
Nice.
records that
No,
they have.
I-
They've become,
Absolutely.
and they
Absolutely.
kind of crossed over too. You know what I mean? So it's like when you got the, you made such a, I'm loving that. You know, I'm loving it. They're like the, and then you have people that implement those artists that are now, like you said, it's so far-fetched to us to think that because Run DMC was such a rock and roll hip hop thing
They definitely
that the
were.
Migos could be even
were
near
pioneers
them.
in what
So
they
that's
did.
what I feel
Okay,
what you're
so
saying,
Black Poppy-
but we gotta give them credit,
Hold
and I
on.
feel you.
Yeah.
Black
But-
Poppy has a question. Hold on.
My question is,
I be running my mouth. Y'all gotta excuse me. My I got
It's
diarrhea
all-
in the mouth.
is all mumble rap bad? Is the question.
No.
Well, that's well,
No, I agree.
Is
No.
all mumble rap
I mean,
bad?
technically,
I don't
Some of it be
technically,
like,
a lot of people would
I have a
consider
good
Migos.
time.
some of it be like,
Technically, listen, technically, a
Hold
lot
on,
of
hold on. Let
a lot of
talk.
people would consider Migos to be mumble
mumble
rap.
rap.
And I love Migos.
I love Migos. That's
Because
why
they
I love
actually have
Migos.
something to
I
say.
didn't love,
love
let me
them
tell you
too.
something. I didn't love
I
them
did.
at first,
I did.
but they kept coming out with song after song, and I was like, you know what? These dudes can't be denied.
They
They
can't.
can't.
They can't. You gotta let them
They
in.
can't be
As
denied.
country as they are, you gotta let them in.
But they are
First
mumble
rapper
rappers.
to
Let's
put
not
it
get it
down.
twisted.
Absolutely.
They are mumble rappers.
They are
Okay,
mumble
this
rappers.
may be about 5 lines in
I
every
don't
song
agree.
that I can recognize.
I feel like I got a good 4.
See?
But let
not
me
doing it because
just
it's
say,
my
let's
vernacular.
take it back to the beginning. What would y'all say was the turning point? Because I feel like the turning point of traditional hip hop going into what it is now was the auto tuning. Remember
Oh,
when Jay-Z
definitely.
came out with Death to Auto Tune? Like that's when T-Pain was out here.
T-Pain was killing it.
So would you say
Yeah, he
that was?
crushed T-Pain's whole fucking career. But go ahead. Don't you
So I
come for
feel
him.
like we started
Don't do
off
it.
with auto tune. Then the only person I
Seems
could
like we got a caller, but we gonna get back to you. Okay?
Absolutely.
We
Not
gonna
right
get
now.
back to you. We don't
Lines
feel
are
like
not
hearing
open,
what the
we'll
hell
let
you
you
got
know
to
when
say.
it's
So it started off with auto tune and then Future. I feel like Future was the first one to do that mumble rap singing.
Future was
Yes.
definitely, I feel like
I feel
Future
like
was
he
That's another
opened
one
the
though.
door for
But that's
that.
another
Yeah.
person who I'm a big fan of though.
I
Future
am
has
not.
definitely.
Why aren't you a fan, Quan-Tia?
I just
Don't come for him.
I'm not coming for
Let her
him.
talk. Let her
I
talk.
respect his artistry, and obviously he can't be denied as an artist. He's one of the most sought after features.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just not into him personally,
Right.
and that's okay.
Personally, I thought he
It is
was a
okay.
singer when he first came out.
And that's
No, he did.
I don't know exactly
That's
what
the
he
point
does.
with Dej
I
Loaf
can't call
and
that
other
singing or
artists who
rapping.
like sing, but they rap, and you gotta
But
wonder,
then
are
you
they
get Drake.
singers or rappers?
So
I didn't think that of Future. He came out, Jeezy bought him out with the first song that he came out with, and he wasn't right. He was a phenomenal rapper.
I feel like his
He
first
didn't
big
come
song
up-
was "Turn on the Lights," and he was singing a lot in that.
Like I said,
I feel like his
I don't
first
really
really major
understand
joint
what
was-
he does. I just know he does it well.
was a
because-
joint.
When,
So
when I
that's
first
a-
heard him, it was Way Too Gone with Jeezy, or it was a feature on Jeezy's album. He always paid homage to Jeezy for pulling him out, who is a hip hop
So
artist.
it's, so are y'all all in agreement from talking to the older people on the panel that the reason why hip hop listeners as well as hip hop artists, like the older generation, feels like they have a lot of criticism towards the newer generation is because of lack of homage? Is that the
No.
only thing?
No.
What else? You said okay. You
No.
said lack of homage, the money.
No, I said, well, we speaking about artists, but not people as a fan, but the artists themselves.
Okay, so as a fan.
So I may have misunderstood you, but as a fan, absolutely not. As an artist, the artist feels as though
Right.
they're not getting paid homage. So it may be a little animosity with that particular artist because they're not getting paid the homage that they should be. But me,
as a fan.
as a
listener.
fan, as a listener, as a professional listener of music, where I have to critique their music. I love it all. I can't put it in a box. If it's mumble jumble, if it's lyricist, you know what I'm saying? If you got Migos or Kendrick Lamar, two totally different lanes. I may rock both
Both
the
of them.
same songs. You understand what I'm saying? At different times and love it the same way.
What do you
Well,
have to say?
I consider myself a music connoisseur, period.
Yeah.
Period. I love
Facts.
music from all walks of life. And I will listen to almost anything.
Right.
Down to just trolling the internet for
Yeah.
new artists and going through all of the messiness that is the internet. However, I would say for me personally, what might be perceived as hate, like coming from me, is that I don't understand what your generation or the younger generation is doing with the genre, because it seems like almost like it's getting
Diluted.
exactly, and that is going to be soon not a genre. As you've seen with other genres, it's been a big deal. Rock, as you see, did not even have a big presence in the Grammys, and neither did R&B music. These genres are genres that are
Rap don't have
getting
no
basically getting
Grammys.
pushed out. And I'm wondering if this is going to be something that happens to hip hop music, because our hip hop music is really sounding more and more these days, just like pop music.
Popish. Yeah.
So do you
But I
think
think-
that's the consumer's fault or like the people behind the scenes? Because you have K. Michelle, she went on the Everyday Struggle. Now she's a singer, but she said they literally told her at Atlantic Record, the sound that's on the radio right now, you don't fit it. You sing too well. It seems like you have to have subpar talent in order to get that mainstream success and that mainstream listen. So do you think it's the consumer's fault, the big people, or it's a collection of both?
I think. Go ahead.
I think it's kind of like the ones who are in charge fault, because they kind of control. No, they definitely control what's being played and what's going on, and I kind of think they want to send that get high, that message, that party message to us. I think that's just what it is right now, because there's a general message
That's a
for all the
brilliant
music.
point.
Yes.
That's a brilliant
in,
point.
in different moments.
That's
And
a
our moment,
brilliant
I think
point.
it's really just to get high, pill party, bitches, all that. That's what it really
It's
is.
something that I used to call the Diddy theory. Okay? I'm explaining the Diddy theory. Okay? You remember when Diddy first signed Mace and they was coming out with those singles, Can Nobody Stop Us Now?
The
Can
Shiny
Nobody
Sweet
Hold
Songs.
Me Down? First of all, that song was garbage. I'm gonna say it right now. It was a remake.
I hate
It was
you,
a
'cause I
remake.
loved it.
It was a remake of a real song, and it was garbage. But I ended up liking that song. Why? Because I heard it 50 times a day. And if I heard it so many times, I'd be like, you know what?
That's my
song
song.
ain't that bad. You know what?
start
That's
jamming.
my song.
You learn the words?
How many songs do you hear nowadays that upon first hearing, you're like the Exhibit C theory. Like when you first heard Exhibit C, it was like, yo, that is a great fucking song. But when you hear wax songs and you hear it 50, 60 times a day, you eventually end up liking
Well,
it.
yeah, because it's like the same principle behind learning the alphabets on Sesame Street. You understand?
Boom.
So if somebody keeps singing A, B, C, D, E, like your child will eventually know their ABCs.
Right.
Okay? And it will be something that is just ingrained inside their head. And that's the same way that they do, but I don't listen to the radio, so I wouldn't know.
I do.
And me
Title,
being a radio
Jay-Z, you got me.
personality,
We listen to
Wait,
Title.
let Miss Kitti talk.
when we go into our Tuesday meetings with these record reps and these record labels, and you got all these artists, the top artists that's out with their new single for the week, right? I could tell them that's not hot. I'm not gonna play that. That's not radio ready, right? For terrestrial radio. And you go in and you critique a song. Whatever you think, and there's a lot of music directors that go into these meetings, and a lot of them are not our color. Okay?
Yeah.
And they go into the meetings and they dictate
That's the crazy shit.
what song on this artist's album is going to be a hit. And it may not necessarily be the song that they like, the song that they wrote, the song that they thought they was going to put out. You understand? It may be a song that they couldn't stand and that they didn't write, but the
But if they
label
push it right-
forced it on you.
If they push
So,
it right, it's gonna be that
that's the
song.
only thing I'm saying. Back to what you were saying and what you said, how the label try to force you, and you have certain. You said Diddy Can't Hold Me Down. I love that song because of the message.
I hated that
You
song.
were not gonna
That's
hold me
bad. The
down.
message was
You ain't
already
gonna
out.
hold me back. You ain't gonna hold me down. And whether it was a remake, somebody else did it and he remade it, the message was positive and it was out there to me.
Yeah, true.
And a lot of these record labels, like you said, right? They don't want positive messages to go out there.
Right.
They want you to rap about the drugs
Well, that's a
and
fact.
the shit for our community, to bring our community down.
Yes,
so if
my
we
girl.
feed,
Yes,
if we
yes,
feed
you know
into
that.
that,
You know that.
Now
We
you get to
already
and
the-
then
feeding
you
into
have
that.
the
That's a whole other
artists
topic.
Yeah.
that
We are
don't
feeding into that.
hold their foot down to it. And some of these people, when you sign in your contracts, you know, and the CEO of FEVA Forever Entertainment is a lawyer. You understand, a contract lawyer. So when you go into shout out to my favorite.
Shout out.
Okay. No, when you go into going into these contracts with the lawyers, you got to make sure you have some type of control over your music, because they will take you, they will give you a lot of money because they have it,
But then they'll tell
and
you
you
what
will
the fuck you
become
gotta
their
talk about.
puppet.
Yeah.
No, that's
You will
true,
become
though.
their puppet,
Exactly.
And
you will send out the
You were
message
the real to
that
everybody.
they want you to send out to your community, and then guess what? They're gonna come to us, the radio stations, and tell us to push this motherfucking stupid ass
So,
song
to that
so
point-
that we can play it 40 times.
And then guess what?
In a
You don't even-
motherfucking-
and guess-
Question: do you think that there should be a separate genre of music? Like, should it?
No.
You didn't even let me finish.
Sorry,
Let me finish.
No.
Sorry,
Said no. God damn it.
I
God
was
damn it,
gonna
no.
say, because remember the conversation.
sorry,
It's
please.
okay. Remember the conversation came up, like, should it be hip hop and then should it be a separate genre of mumble rap? What y'all think about that?
I wouldn't mind an alternative hip hop category.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be mad
That's
at
what it would be
that.
called. Alternative hip hop.
Why
It's
not
like
just
rock star
alternative
music.
rock?
There's alternative R&B.
There's alternative R&B.
I
Why
would,
not?
you
Why
know
not?
what? I do agree with the fact of categorizing the different types of rap music. I don't agree with calling it alternative hip hop.
But they're calling themselves rock stars. What else do you
Listen,
call it? They
listen,
literally was
I'm I'm sure
Well,
the Rock
he's a
community
hip-hop
doesn't
hero.
want to claim them either.
So.
Okay, I'm pretty sure
But
that
they
you
be
ain't
people
got
that's
fucking what's in the green tomatoes or whatever the fuck.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Red hot chili peppers, or whatever the fuck they call.
Red hot chili
Right,
peppers.
I'm pretty sure that they like
Green Day.
Listen,
Green.
pretty sure.
You talking about Green
This is
Day?
what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that they not like, yeah, we take Lil Uzi Vert. Yeah, we take Lil Yachty. Like, no. The rock community does not
But
claim
I
them.
also,
Exactly,
hold
though,
on,
which is why
I
there
also
should
feel
be-
like that's where the animosity comes from too. Because say we have the Grammys, BET Awards, or whatever, and it's a hip hop category, but someone who's not doing traditional hip hop wins over someone who did an excellent body of
Someone
work
who
of
we never
traditional.
heard of, who we never hear on our radio station.
That's
is the
true,
ones that
yeah,
get
right. Because they're not
nominated and
they're
win.
not mainstream. So that's why I feel like there should be a separate category. Because you have people that are still doing traditional hip hop, following that skill and that formula, and they're putting out great body
Yes,
of work,
but-
even though it's not on the radio.
At the same time, if that person don't make it, that person just don't make it.
But why won't they make it?
Because
And will they
don't
not make it because they're not popular enough in the
Exactly.
eyes of social media?
But you know what I think?
That's the decision.
But that has nothing to do with
I
music.
feel
man.
like
It doesn't?
Hold
honestly,
on.
I feel like honestly there is some truth to that because we all know in this room that if somebody has a great body of work, regardless of what that body of work is, it makes it. Okay, it
No,
does not.
no,
It's
no.
true.
I don't agree
It's
with
true.
that.
And
I
I'm
don't
not
agree
talking
with
about.
that.
I'm not talking about whether it meets the standards of
No.
what hip hop.
I honestly don't
I'm
agree
talking
with
about
that.
if somebody has an undeniably hot body of work, that shit somehow manifests itself, and I feel that way.
Sometimes it
That's
does.
just how I
think
feel
so.
that way.
I feel that way as
I
well.
honestly feel that way. I
Nah.
honestly feel that way.
I honestly
if you
don't.
have
Yes, some
just like
type of presence.
it's somewhere along the way, just like to your point, right? Rhapsody, right? Whom I'm not necessarily, in tune with like
Right.
that, right? But I respect her as a writer and as the artist that she is, right? A lot of people
Power to
don't.
the people.
A lot of people don't know her,
Right.
right? But she got Grammy nods. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody don't have to
Okay,
know who the fuck
okay.
you
Can
are.
I say something?
You
You
understand
got
what I'm
artists-
saying?
you got artists
Everybody
like
don't
that.
have to know who you
There's
are.
artists that don't
And you
get
get
respect,
respect in
that
the
don't get-
industry.
You got artists like Joyner
You
Lucas, who is dope as shit.
You want to break
Exactly.
this into two
Who
parts.
nobody knows anything about, but he's one of the best hip hop rap artists, writers that I know of.
That's
in
the Grammy
this
look at.
industry.
They don't look at who we look at.
Right.
They look at a whole alternative
Right.
point of people. And to wrap it up, you know what I mean? The Grammys don't look at who we like him. You know what I mean? They're not looking at Cardi B, Nicki Minaj,
Right.
and all, unless you reach a certain standard of crossover. We gotta be with our people, but Grammys is not for us because they're looking at they're looking at hip hop in a different eye.
That's very true.
Yeah,
But
the
I-
eye that we're promoting.
An eye
But
that we
and
don't
I-
have.
they see, and if it reaches their audience and our
The little
audience,
Zans, the little fucking
but because he's
little
white though,
thumps and shit like that.
because they white though.
I just have.
Let me not say that.
Before
Before we
Say
wrap
that.
it up, I just wanted to touch on something else. So we talked about the music. Now you know hip hop is like a culture. It has a swag.
It is a
We
culture.
also-
It's not like a culture.
Okay, you're
It's a
right. Thank
culture.
you, the veteran lyricist. Thank
Facts.
you. I wanted to talk about what do you think about the criticism towards the way these younger people dress, like the skirts, the handbags, the colorful hair and whatnot.
Listen,
because
man.
they're just-
Let me just say this. In 94, 93, the popular thing was to wear your clothes backwards.
Right.
Right.
So baggy.
Or baggy. Or I mean baggy like you're wearing
Extra,
you're wearing
extra
your 52
large.
size waist jeans and you're 16, which means you're like a fucking 20 or some shit like that. So they have their thing, we had our thing.
Right.
We're gonna hate on them just the same way our parents hated on our
Right.
generation.
It's just the way it goes.
I love that.
Right.
They don't understand.
It's gonna
love
happen.
that.
It's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how you dress, as long as you got bars, as long as you got a good song, as long as you make good music. I don't give a fuck if you wore a dress or not. Honestly,
I mean, literally,
Word
we came
down
out
to
with
the
the
knockout
PM
sweep.
Dawes that it was mad eclectic and very different.
And
Y'all
you know
niggas
what,
used to wear
girl,
crop
you
tops.
know it's true.
Y'all niggas used to wear crop tops and
Milli
shit.
Vanilli.
They had
They had on skirts too.
They had crop tops
on,
crop
mommy.
tops, yeah.
We
Don't
even
get it
laugh
twisted.
about
Don't
the
get it
hot
twisted.
girls the
explicit,
video.
though.
Hold on.
Prince
We
had
even,
platform boots.
me and Quan-Tia always laugh about what the hot girls in the videos look like back then
Versus
now. Like, you want to talk about hip hop?
Right.
Look at the hot bitches in the video back then in Big Daddy Kane.
What I will
They
say
had
is,
little titties,
what I will say is,
a
the
little
women,
bunkie,
But they were-
and a spandex, and they had
Put these
ponytail,
spandex on.
and they were just
but they were fully dressed.
Right.
They wore clothes from top to
But that
bottom.
was considered scantily clad.
But that was
at
Because
time.
of what
and
they
the
were wearing.
spandex,
That's what they were
and
wearing.
the spandex,
Tights and a crop top.
and the spandex hat
Yes.
with the spandex skirt.
That
Like,
was
we
risky.
evolved.
Right.
That's the perfect
the cut up
segue, yo.
jeans. We used to do the cut up jeans with our names on it
That's
and all that
right.
with the graffiti.
My cut-up jeans
All
are
of those
stains
things
on.
are coming back. The fades with the blonde.
It's
in it.
coming back,
All of those
but they
things
don't
are
show
coming back.
respect
But
to the
it's-
old school.
But
Right,
they
but
do
we
though.
did it.
No,
But
they don't.
do.
Though.
We
The
did
first
it.
thing out younger generation's mouths is old head this, old head that. So how are you?
But
how you-
how?
But they so fucking disrespectful.
But wait,
But
wait,
I
wait,
Yo,
feel
it's
wait,
old
like
head
it's
this,
pause,
old head that.
pause.
Yo, you an old head, so how could you
But
tell
what
me
about-
that?
What about when it's the all heads just being like new school this, new school that, instead of just like letting it be?
Is that what you guys want?
I
Let it
feel
be
like,
because it is new school. Like you
you know, I
gotta
feel like my
acknowledge.
school is very
So do y'all?
sensitive. Everybody's sensitive.
Super
They can't take
sensitive.
The
criticism.
millennials
but
are
at the same
sensitive. That's
time,
what you're saying.
they're mad sensitive. But at the same time,
Y'all are
it's
spoiled.
gotta be a mutual respect. Because at the
I agree.
I
at the end
agree.
of the day,
I agree.
everybody's grown.
I agree.
Everybody's doing their thing.
And you know what? The millennials is like, y'all gonna give us our motherfucking
Exactly, they're gonna
respect.
take
But
it.
I don't
so-
care if
but
we
so
wear a
do we.
skirt.
They're not even asking for it.
and you know
They're
what?
not even
You know
asking
what?
for it from the older generation.
No.
They're not asking for it. They say, I'm taking this shit.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's why they wearing skirts and doing all these type of
That's
things.
why.
Back to what you
That's
talking
why.
about. Young
That's
Thugger,
why, goddamn
he
it.
did a lot of shit
His
just
hair
to
is
live
popping.
this here lifestyle.
That's a
And
good
he
topic.
is wearing a
That's a
skirt.
good topic. That's a
He's
good
wearing
topic.
a
That's
skirt.
6ix9ine shit. That's a good topic.
I'm not
Because you
even
got an artist
a music
like
person.
6ix9ine
With
who is
rainbow
more.
hair.
Good for him.
Okay, but all that, he's more popular for shit outside of music than actual music.
Right.
So prior to this roundtable discussion, I was intrigued to look up 6ix9ine's music.
6ix9ine.
And I heard his music, and honestly, it reminds me of a mix between DMX and Onyx.
That's
Wow.
exactly what I
Same
said.
thing.
DMX and
I
Onyx.
said Onyx, Lords of the Underground. You
No,
know,
not even Lords of the Underground.
like them type of
Onyx and
I don't
DMX.
even know.
Specific.